I came across these two metal bowls at a thrift store, and they immediately caught my attention. They appear to be designed to attach to poles, but the pieces are completely solid. Once mounted, they wouldn't be able to move or even rotate. In fact, if they were able to rotate, they'd likely just slide down the pole they were attached to. The staff at the store didn't know what they were either. I'm not sure how to describe them well enough to search for more information. A quick Google search for bowl attached to pole only led to images of wood lathes, which wasn't much help. Does anyone have an idea of what these might be? It's a big oyster shell. My guess is, it's meant to have iced oysters served from it, and the little crater volcano thing there holds a dish of cocktail sauce or whatever the hell people garnish their filthy oysters with. The clamps are probably for attaching it to some custom base, as its shape looks like it makes it a little wobbly. I found this non-magnetic metal object near my driveway. It weighs 33.5 grams and measures 2 3/16 inches in length and 9/16 inches in width at its widest point. The object has holes on both the top and bottom, which I assume are meant to connect, but it's filled with mud and dirt, so I can't confirm that for sure. It appears to be stamped with the name Victor on it. Anyone know what this is? It's a cutting torch tip for oxyacetylene. I found this item at an antique store, where it was labeled as a cool box with unknown instrument, measuring about 1.5 feet in length. The material is unidentified, though some parts appear to be brass. I'm unsure of its exact weight. The store owner mentioned that it was donated to him, and he has no idea what it is either. I attempted a Google image search, but couldn't find anything that matches. What is this thing? That is a Shore Scleroscope. It's an instrument that was used to test the hardness of metals. It does so by dropping a weight down the tube and measuring how high it bounces back, hence the numbered marks. My friend found this while working in the garden this spring in the Appalachian foothills of East Tennessee. It looks like a knife, but it's unlike anything I've ever seen before. Does anyone know what this is? He mentioned that it's a napped flint knife, with the handle likely made of deer antler since bone would be too soft and hollow. The binding appears to be sinew, and it doesn't seem to be very old. However, I think it's not flint at all. It's glass. Freshly napped flint typically ranges from dark blue to purple, or a slight brownish tint, especially where it's thinnest and most translucent. This knife looks more like napped bottle glass or window glass, which has that lighter blue-green color. And yes, glass can absolutely be napped. Interestingly, someone has ground and polished the bottom half of the knife, which gives it that frosted appearance. I'm not sure why they did that, because you can't really sharpen a flint, obsidian, or glass blade by grinding. It needs to be napped to form a new edge. Maybe the grinding was done to deliberately blunt the blade or to make it less sharp, though I'm not sure of the reasoning behind it. After thinking about it, I do believe the edge was intentionally blunted. The hole in the handle might have been for attaching it to a belt, and that's the edge that would be bouncing against your legs. You definitely wouldn't want a razor-sharp glass edge doing that. I came across this while looking around, and I'm genuinely curious. I have no intention of committing any crime. It looks like the orange object is locked onto the front brake of the bike and hooked to the handle in a way that it could easily slide off. I'm not quite sure what its purpose is. Does anyone know what the orange thing on this motorbike is? It's a reminder that the front brake is locked. Disc locks are quite small and either easily forgotten by the owner or not noticed by a potential thief. If you move a bike with the disc lock attached, you can easily damage the brakes. The cable hooks round the disc lock and over one of the levers as a reminder to the owner that it needs removing before they ride off. Also, it indicates to anyone trying to steal it, there is a lock on the wheel. It doesn't need to be firmly attached as it serves no other purpose than a reminder and indication that a lock is in place. My friend sent me a picture of some random straight lines near his office building. They aren't parallel, but are deep trenches placed in an unusual pattern with odd spacing between them. It's difficult to estimate their exact size, but I'd say each trench is about 20 meters long. Any idea what's going on here? My friend lives in the UK, where planning authorities often require developers to do evaluation trial trenching to make sure there are no important archaeological artifacts that might be destroyed by excavation. If the trial trenches turn up anything interesting, a more serious archaeological dig may be required before building can begin. As far as I'm aware, this practice is unique to the UK. We definitely don't do it in the US, and I haven't heard of it being done in Europe. I found this among my dad's things, and it brought back memories of my sweet papa using it while sitting in the shanty during ice fishing trips on Lake Erie over 40 years ago. It's in velvet box with a black object inside. Any idea what it could be? It's a pocket hand warmer. You light the rod in the middle. It is a coal. You close it up and pop it in your pocket. Blow in it to stoke it up. I've noticed this growth on my mugs after microwaving them. It often appears when I heat these mugs up. The growth is very dry and brittle. Most of it just flies off when I blow on it. Sometimes it even falls onto the microwave dish. I can't see any cracks on the surface, even under intense macro magnification. I don't drink out of these mugs after microwaving them. I mostly just use them to heat water for various things. Any idea what it could be? My friend is a ceramicist, so she explains that clay bodies are porous depending on the material used. Porcelain is dense and earthenware and stoneware is less. Either way, liquids can move through fired clay. Glaze that goes on the outside can look solid, but can have hundreds of tiny cracks and holes. When you microwave liquids or just let them sit in a ceramic vessel, they can seep through and crystallize in the cracks and holes. This usually only happens with handmade or cheap ceramics. Sometimes this is done on purpose and is referred to as a crackle glaze. When it happens on accident, it's called crazing, when the tensile strength of the glaze doesn't match the clay body during firing. My dad inherited these from a dear friend of his, a woman in her 70s, who recently passed away. She had a passion for travel in her younger years, particularly throughout Europe, and even spent a couple of years living in Italy before the year 2000. The pieces are made of silver, weighing around 1 kilogram each and standing about 30 centimeters tall. On the bottom, I found a subtle engraving that reads Argento OX. The main body is hollow and holds a glass container inside. There are 2 of these beautiful items in total. Any ideas what this thing is?